this one's on authentic materials. And what I'm going to do just before we start this is I'm just going to show you a little bit about the structure of the mini course. Some of you might be aware of them, aware of the structure. Some of you still might be a bit in the dark. So basically, the idea is that there's 4 different parts of the mini course, 4 sessions. Yeah. In session 1, we'll be looking at theory, like the theory of using or integrating authentic materials. And when we move into session 2, we'll look at more practical aspects. Okay, so actually integrate materials into materials that have been integrated into courses that are currently going on at the British Council or have actually been taught. So this is going to be a very, very practical session showing you different ways of integrating materials. Yeah? The third one is going to be a planning session. So the third one, basically, you're going to get together and think about how you can integrate materials more into your courses. So this is going to be a planning session. And basically the whole idea of this is to develop your competencies. So in the third session we'll be looking very carefully at the next teaching cycle of mini courses. You would like to become trainers on it, you can do that. So if you would like to become a trainer for the authentic materials, next time it runs, you can do that. So we're kind of developing lots and lots of different competencies, not only teacher competencies, but teacher training competencies. Okay? So that's the rationale.
Wow, this is huge.
Yes. So basically, let's talk about what we're going to do today. What we're going to do is, we've done the course overview. We're going to look at what is authenticity. Okay, and I know you guys have got a lot of experience using authentic materials. Hopefully, after today's session, you'll be a little bit more, maybe slightly more aware of different aspects of using authentic materials and what we mean by authenticity. Yeah. Why we use authentic materials in the classroom, what are the values of doing it, I'm sure you'll be fine with that. Key issues in exploiting authentic materials, integrating authentic materials into syllabi, and then finally we'll be talking about what we're going to be doing next session. So we've got quite a lot to go through. Just one thing, just before we go on, one of the key things we're trying to do as a centre is where we're trying to kind of think about materials that we're using in the classroom, which is what this course is about. How we use them in the classroom, which is what the task-based learning session is about, and how we can support learners to use those materials outside the classroom, which is what the learner autonomy session is about. So hopefully, once you've kind of seen the product of this kind of project, hopefully we'll all be on the same page about what kind of methodology we're using in the class. That's kind of the end result of the project. Okay, easy one. Can you get a board, please? Easy. Okay, this is a really easy task, but I think it's really important to kind of establish. Okay, what I'd like to do very quickly, 5 minutes, just a brainstorm. How many can you think of? Let's have a little competition. See how many you can think of.
Well, let's go this thing. So we could have a video from YouTube. Well, video music. Listen to each of you or something like that. TV,
We've got the most.
Oh, God.
I know you guys.
Oh my God.
Quite a broad category there.
Quality, not quantity.
Oh, we've got quality and quantity.
Of course you have.
Okay, who's got the most? It's probably about the same, isn't it? How many have you used in your classes? How many of those do you think?
Here or in your teaching
In
career?
teaching, general recipes. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Everything? Yeah, you've used it. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you guys have used lots and lots of authentic materials in really good ways.
That's what she said.
Not that you will.
Yeah, I know.
Guys, you know.
But the idea is that hopefully by the end of the course you'll be using more of these authentic materials in a more principled way. That's the kind of the idea of it.
Or in a more structured way.
Yeah, we'll look at what we mean by principled way a bit later, like the different elements you need to think about when you're integrating authentic materials. But yeah, but using more and slightly more principled would be the.
It's a lot more prep.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you only have to be careful that it's not something that you're doing because you like it.
Okay, so I think we've got a bit of cynicism over here. So you are going to be the group. You're going to debate the cons. The cons of using authentic materials. And you guys, because you're so enthusiastic and keen, you're going to do a quick brainstorm, think about why, what the value of authentic materials, why we should be using them more often. Yeah, so you're both playing devil's advocate. So I'm going to give you 5 minutes to brainstorm, you guys, why we should use them more. You guys, why bother? Why bother?
Yeah. A bit of detachment from it, it's like it's not really something that they're ever,
yeah,
you know, maybe like
get it thrown at them when they understand half of it, as opposed to like a course book test where they get nearly everything.
that they're used to.
Well, I think that's
It helps them to see situations when they use it, like the functions of English as well.
the course books have a high frequency of the target language.
Well, debate tennis. So we're going to start over here, and what I'd like to do is you guys are going to counter an argument using one of yours. Yeah? So let's spend about 5 minutes, and then at the end of this we're going to decide who had the most convincing arguments.
If we don't get the materials, it's just they're not available in Colombia. So
You've got the internet.
what do you mean they're not
copyright as
available?
well, Michelle?
Copyright issues, yeah.
Just stick it in the bottom.
No, but things like we're talking about stuff that we had up here, like
The reality.
you know, timetables and menus and tickets and things like that. You can't get things like that.
But you'd only use those at really low levels anyway. And most teachers bring them over with them,
Yeah.
don't they?
But this is something
In
most
their
good,
teachers'
most
packet, before they came.
I think these are a lot of
Good teachers
materials
have
where you
that.
can tell students to actually bring them into the classroom, like menus or timetables or whatever, even their own stuff that they've got, that they can actually bring in the classroom.
Where
So
Where
it's
you-
not a
where?
matter.
So
So
when
it's
you-
not a matter of trying to, get them for the students, but they can also help you to get them and bring them in the classroom.
I don't
So it's
think
easily
stuff like
accessible.
menus has to be actually authentic to create the authenticity for those.
What we I think is a really strong point of, for us is like self-access outside the classroom, and it actually encourages them to even do more outside the classroom,
for example,
and it gives them more.
Pick up a newspaper.
It's a confidence booster in terms of they say, oh well, I can actually understand this little article from a magazine or some thing that you downloaded from YouTube or whatever, and it actually encourages them to even
Could be that it just
use
demotivates
Has the
them
opposite
because
effect.
because they don't
Not if
understand
the
it.
teacher does it well. That's not if the teacher does it badly. If the teacher does it well, they'll get the strategies to be able to learn them, to use them outside the classroom without being overwhelmed.
But you can't guarantee that the student's going to learn something you teach.
But that's why you're giving them strategies.
Exactly.
Not just they understand that one class. They understand that they can just read the headlines, for example, and that is an achievement.
For example,
Would you agree that there's the possibility of it being demotivating?
for example,
because you
like,
give them a task saying, okay, all you got to do is like pick out a couple of words from this news broadcast, and they do the task, they pick out the words, and say, oh, well done, and they're feeling, oh, I didn't understand anything.
But it depends, because you grade
I
it to
got
the
that.
level that you're doing it, don't you? You grade the task,
Exactly.
not the material.
Yeah, but if you're
For
putting the
example-
tasks so low that they can do the tasks, but they're still
still it's
going
like
away
it's
feeling that,
redundant
oh, I
then.
just didn't really understand anything. Oh, the teacher is happy because we managed to pick out this one word that he wanted us to.
But the rest of the article, I've absolutely no idea.
Yeah.
But it's not just that. It's you can get them to understand like the whole article if you're getting them to skim and scan appropriately, and then they can orientate themselves around it, and they can usually get a lot of.
I think basically what we do in the classroom is to develop strategies, yeah, in what we do in terms of developing their listening and their reading, and we are trying to actually prepare them for the outside world. That is the main thing that we're trying to do. And if we are not doing that in the classroom, then I think what
That's
job.
also what are we preparing for? Is it for them to be able to understand like a comedy series from England, or is it for them to be able to communicate in
No,
international
I think we have to
environments?
be realistic
And if we're
about
bringing in
it.
materials that
Let's
aren't
be
really
re-
relevant to them,
okay.
Well,
but we kind of like them,
Okay.
And we're interested in our materials.
They're all learning
variety.
English for a different reason.
There's
So
more
you can't say
variety
one
from
And
thing.
do you necessarily need
More
authentic
likely
materials?
to
You don't
match.
need authentic materials to teach strategies on for listening, for example, or whatever.
And it's like they're basically learning an international brand of English, so they don't really need to know about like the coal mines in Newcastle and what happened to them.
Well, it all depends on context, no? You should, you provide a certain context also in the classroom, and that context that you also provide in the classroom is transferable. It's transferable in the outside world, and that is even more motivating for them. And
Yeah, but you've got to imagine, say you prepare a lesson on holiday brochures. Someone who wants to learn English to communicate with another Colombian, or in an office environment, and isn't interested in travelling or.
And
whatever.
if they do travel, they'll get their holiday brochures in Spanish. So like, how's that helping them when they're never going to actually?
But you would
access
do
that?
needs analysis. It doesn't mean that you're going to give them anything. You've got more variety, so you're more likely to get what they want than you've got from a textbook where you've got less variety.
I think I would agree
less
because of what
variety,
you're
but
saying
more
about
high frequency, useful language for them to
Horizontal.
It's
be
targeted.
able to use
Mhm.
in
But-
their situations where they have to use English.
No, but the high frequency words are always in normal text anyway. That's why they're high frequency words. In most texts, there's only the top 2,000 words.
Yeah, but we only have a very limited
Which
time
is
with
like
them, and if we want to get across like adverbs of frequency, it's more efficient to have a tailored text tailored to that specific need.
Well, then you're not showing it used in its natural context anyway, so you're skewing their perception of when it's used.
Yeah, but
And they're not going to be able to use it in real life. They're
it's
just
more
gonna know
efficient
the
though,
rules.
because we're
And-
drawing their attention. to
Yeah,
that.
and I think that the main thing is not preparing all these things that are so tailored. I think our role in the classroom is basically what they can take away from the classroom, and not so much focus should be not this focus on tailored material in the classroom and what I can only do in the classroom, but it's actually what you can give them and what they're taking away from the classroom to be able to survive.
If you spoke to a student and said,
You know.
what would you rather do, have exposure to realistic, authentic material, or have a brilliant understanding of this
That
one
you
particular
really
area?
need to take them out of their comfort zone. Yeah, you need to take them out of their comfort zone, and you need to be able to teach them all those strategies where they're able to take risks in their language learning. And once you start doing that, it's even more, they'll find it more challenging, more motivating, and you prepare them even more for what they will face when they leave your class.
But do you think like somebody that's only got 2 hours, however many hours a week it is to study English in a really short time, that giving them a text which has got lots of idiomatic is an efficient use of their time, when you could be giving them something which focuses like bang in on
What
the
they
one
need
thing.
to communicate at the
Yeah.
level
If I were going to
that
learn
they do.
Spanish and I only had like 20 hours of Spanish, I would rather learn how to do things that are real and genuine than know perfectly how to do the present simple or something like that.
Yeah, but there's 20
If I
people in
only
the
had
class, and then
a
so they've
little
all
bit of
got
time.
different things.
Well, they've all got different things, so where do you strike the balance, really? So where do you strike the balance? So
Okay, good.